Welcome to Deucecast Extra live on a Wednesday night, the day after the third episode of Acolyte aired. We are going to do things a little bit different tonight. We are going to actually cover the episode first, and then we're going to dive into like what our extra stuff was. Like, how did you extra this week? Whoa, good gracious, Garrison.
Good catch.
So, because of that,
Yeah.
I do want to dive in right into the episode. We're like no hyperbole. We're doing this. This one, we're getting the data pad out here. This one was directed by Kogonada, who is actually a really good film director. He did a couple of movies that I really enjoy. One called Columbus and one called After Yang. After Yang is really good. I liked
After
that
Yang
movie.
is
Yang got a
Yeah,
lot of
so-
love at Cannes, I think.
It did, yeah. That's the director, and then the writers this week. Surprisingly, Leslie Headland did not get a writing credit. Jasmine Flournoy and Eileen Shim. Eileen Shim is the head writer of this episode. Jasmine Flournoy is sort of like what you would call your staff writer for your writer's room, that type of thing. No Leslie Headland writing credit though, which I found quite interesting. Also, they've already bucked the system. They just called this episode Destiny.
Oh,
It's not a hyphen or
not
anything.
split.
It's just called Destiny. So let's kind of dive in. You know, we don't like to just you've seen the episode if you're watching this, so we don't have to like break down beat by beat what happened in the episode. But
You're
we
not going to
cover
ask us?
cover
Or-
the big ideas. Let's cover the big ideas of the episode. So Garrison, but first of all, yeah, Garrison, what did you think? Like, how many times did you watch it, and what did you think like coming out of it as the episode ended?
I saw you guys talking about how much you thought everything was overblown with the episode.
I
in
personally
terms of
did,
let's just say most of them are grifters who go out there and
Yeah.
parade all this content around.
no, you're right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
I don't think they were fully wrong about some things,
no.
but I do think they overhyped it in
That's
some
fair.
ways, which
That's fair.
which they love to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
You
didn't
got to
love
get the clicks.
I did not love this episode. I found it kind of boring. The lore stuff I thought was kind of dumb. That's just my own personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have any even political pushback on any of that. It's just, I thought it was just dumb. I don't care for the Force creating a child outside of Anakin personally, because I feel like that's kind of almost the Jesus allegory for Anakin.
So we don't
where
know
he-
that happened though, right?
What do you mean?
Highly alluded to.
But we
Right.
don't- but we
they
really
straight up said
don't
it. We
I
don't
thought
we didn't see it.
I thought
but
they
that
said it, but they could be lying.
That's
of
what the
course.
witches said.
Like,
No.
Well,
She was like, "You don't know what you did to
Yes,
get to make
there's
this happen."
some
no,
dialogue.
they don't know what you did. She knows what she did.
Right, but
Right.
as a viewer, we don't know
Which was
if it
what?
was like a virgins in the floor
She
in
pulled the
Force.
thread. She pulled
Artificial insemination from a.
We don't know. I mean,
who knows?
we don't know as a viewer. That one
Yeah.
line right there to me leaves the door open for all kinds of crazy stuff. Like,
Which is
I agree.
stupid to leave the door open. Just go out and say it unless it's a big reveal later in the season.
and it could
I
be. That's
think-
why.
I
That's why
think
you
you
gotta
guys-
let these shows breathe.
I,
I
think
think
it was pretty clear.
I think you guys think this writer's room is smarter than I do.
Look, I mean, just
all I'm
based
gonna say.
upon, based upon Russian
And-
dolls, then
Let me.
this could be bigger than we think.
All right. The other issue I had with this episode, line delivery from several characters. I
Yes.
thought when
Yeah,
I was
yeah, that's
watching the show, I was like, "There's no way the writer wanted that delivered that way." Part of it was some of the kids acting,
His
which
kid acting was-
I'm not gonna harp on that because
No.
you get what you get on that.
Yeah.
They're no Jake Lloyd, but I'm actually
Are
being
you an
serious.
angel? I like
Actually-
Jake Lloyd.
I actually think Jake Lloyd, looking back on it, is not a bad actor in Phantom Menace. But
No, it's
Um,
yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this performance.
Yeah,
He
I'll
was
pass
good.
it off. I'll have plenty more to say, but
Yeah. We'll get to the details, but I think that maybe things are not quite as they seem. It's not as cut and dry as you may think with some of this stuff. But Espo, what did you think, man?
I enjoyed the lore. Like it gave insight into the Force Awakens. No, I'm sorry, the Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Where it sort of made like how Jedi are like conscripted or drafted into the Jedi. Like, we're just going to come take all your children. So, and the
Not
witches,
without permission.
not without permission,
Or is it?
but it seems
I'm
like
just going off of the
they have
lines in the episode.
they have a reputation for this, right? So much so that this coven of witches is aware of what the Jedi are doing. So I enjoyed the lore. Like it shed light on how the Jedi became who they are when we meet Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in the Phantom Menace.
My only issue is I feel like I've seen a bunch of people like, oh, I really love this. We showed Jedi bad and Jedi taking children, and I'm like, but we've seen
I didn't get that at all
before.
from this episode, though.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, but I do see where Headland was going with, the girl's like, the Jedi are good. She's like, the Jedi are bad. It's like from a certain point of view, like, right, the Jedi could appear to be bad because if whatever the Coven's lifestyle is not what the Jedi.
Tell Garrett, don't break it down just yet, Garrison.
Okay,
Let him
okay.
have his say, and then we can all talk.
So
okay.
I enjoyed that.
I can tell Garrison wants to jump in and dispute it, but
I'm done with my initial dissertation.
Yeah. Roth, what did you think? Actually, Roth and Espo, I'm sorry, we actually haven't heard from you guys about.
Hey,
all
we
three
got
episodes.
new people.
Yeah, this is new blood. I mean, don't take too much time, but all 3 episodes. How's the show working for you so far?
I enjoyed this episode way more than episodes 1 and 2.
Okay.
I liked. I don't know if we're going to stay in this flashback era. I think we are.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
There's got to be a little.
I think they're going to jump back and forth. Maybe like we'll have episode 4 will be current. Then maybe they'll do another flashback. I think there is going to be a lot of flashbacks though.
Yeah. I think some of this harkens back to, like I said, the Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars, and I'm trying to see the positive light in all this, despite what I'm being told to think.
I like that attitude. I like that attitude, Espo.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah, Roth.
Yeah, I thought episode 1 and 2 were enjoyable enough. I didn't think they were like Mandalorian good. I thought they were boring-ish. But there are aspects that I enjoyed. I thought episode 3 stunk. Like, that's more what I'm upset about is just the low quality of it. I thought the what's-her-face Coral's design was abhorrent. Like, it was just dumb. I did not like her character design.
Wait,
Really?
which one?
Was it the pointy ears
Mama?
or what?
The
Like
mama?
what
The
about
one with
her?
the lesbian with all the stuff coming out of her head.
You mean the witch?
The witch lesbian with all the stuff coming out of her head.
You're talking about the Dathomirian.
No, she's not Dathomirian.
No, I mean not Dathomirian.
But she's got those type of horns.
And they're not even Brendakan. They're not even Brendakan witches. They're
not
the white,
Darth Maul,
the not black.
Yeah, the Darth, but not Dathomirian.
What do they call? No, they're not. What's their species though? It's I'm sorry.
Darth Maul's Dathomirian.
I'm breaking my rule. I
you're fine.
Garrison, I'm breaking the rule. So
did not like that character design. I also thought it doesn't matter. Like, I kind of made the analogy in my head of if your friends are like, no, Ouija boards are just fun. This is just fun stuff to play with. Ouija boards are actually good. It doesn't matter what they're like. You can say whatever you want about Ouija board. Ouija board's evil. Witch ceremonies are evil. This is bad stuff happening.
Yeah, no, and I do agree with that aspect of it. Like, I'm not into the whole witch thing, and so
I also thought the chanting was stupid. How they made it into a song instead of kept it as a chant.
Yeah, I'm
the song part.
So indifferent to that, but yeah, I feel you.
Oh, I hated it.
It wasn't great, but I mean, it is what it is. But Earl, thoughts on the 3rd episode? Yeah, it's Zabrak, exactly. That's what Maul is. But Dr. Earl, you're on mute. What you think?
Oh, I did mute. I muted myself.
Put yourself in the corner.
No, I think I think so. I think the cinematography was a little bit better this episode. Some people are disagreeing with that. I can see.
I thought it looked. See, I personally thought that
thought it looked better.
No,
good.
sorry. I thought when we get into things, I always think like, best points, and then you hit on just personally, and then you hit on cinematography first, and I was like,
well, there you go. That's it. That's it. And I'm done. Thanks. No, I felt like this. So if you and Michael, we've talked about this, but like, this felt like an episode of like a Clone Wars where you go to a different planet, and for whatever reason, they have this culture where this is how they understand the Force.
Yeah, exactly. It's the thread.
I hear what you're saying, Jacob. I'm not a big fan of witches, and it does make me nervous that there's a certain culture. There's a certain subculture in our society that is leaning into that aspect. I won't go into that, but I thought that the girls, they got better as the episode went, but they weren't the best of actresses, but that's fine. I mean, like I said, somebody mentioned, I think it was Garrison said that about the kids. I think, I mean, I'm the only way I can justify this thing about the Jedi is, what if by the end of this they realize that the way they're doing things is wrong, and they're in the High Republic era, and they say we have to change and do better for Go ahead.
I hope they do, and I'll make this point because we have so much media, and we're building more and more media of the Jedi continuing to make mistakes, and I get it. You have to show that in some form because you have to kind of lead up to the eventual downfall of the Jedi, but also at a certain point, there was a reason the Jedi were revered as these great heroes in myths, and we got to also show that, I think, at a certain point too, and I feel like we don't really get that often. In
I don't think that's what Leslie Headland is going to do.
No, of course, yeah.
I'm also
maybe.
I'm also tired of people like saying like in the prequels the Jedi were evil. No, they were not. The Jedi were the good guys. They were just extremely flawed, and they
were blind to some of their the issues, but they weren't evil. No.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm gonna go back to 1939 for just a second. There was a movie that came out called The Wizard of Oz, and there was a good witch and a bad witch in The Wizard of Oz. I think that we're overblowing this concern for witch culture a little bit. Witches have been around forever. It's like in culture forever. Shakespeare, Wizard of Oz. I mean, they've been around forever. I don't care. Anne Rice. I don't care about this whole witch thing. Now, Star Wars universe, thus far, witches have been portrayed as evil. So the Dathomirian witches are super evil witches, not great, not good people, up to no good. Now we had a Lasat witch in Rebels that maybe was kind of good. They used Ashla as their force. That's what they called their version of force.
But see, she was more like medicine woman.
Well, but medicine woman witch, it's about the same
for sure.
And so the Lasat, we saw that they had their version of the Force as well. I'm totally fine with this new version of the Force, or it's actually all the same Force. They're just calling it the Thread or whatever. It's fine. I mean, if you watched the subtitles, they immediately capitalized Thread. I mean, so you immediately know they're talking about the Force. But I was really kind of okay with this episode. I think it introduced some interesting concepts. Obviously, I can see why some part of fandom might be upset about the fact that we're concerned that maybe Anakin isn't the only Vergence in the Force. Now, I don't think we know enough information yet about these twins to know how they were created. So we know that canon is that Pelagus tried to create life and kind of failed, right? I mean, he didn't pull it off. from what he was trying to do.
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Yes, the wise, exactly.
Something else.
Have you
So,
ever
but
heard the
what
tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly.
One of the twins is not really good in the Force, right? Like OSHA,
She
Are they a
May's
Force
evil.
dyad?
Well, I mean, obviously that's what they're going for. I mean, obviously they're going for the good and the bad. I mean, like
Right.
they're they're kind
Well,
of.
but I like she's more interested in technology. Like she works that
Sure.
but she
hatch
can't.
really quick.
I mean, she
Oshi?
tries and fails. OSHA fails
Osha.
Hey, what's
many
up, Andrew?
times
How's it going, buddy?
to try to use the Force.
Yoshi!
Yeah, I loved how she was called Oshi. I loved how May called her Oshi. Yeah, May from the very beginning of the episode, we see that she obviously has like an evil streak in her. She's trying to kill the little butterfly or whatever that thing is. So, I mean, from the very beginning of this episode, they're telling the viewer May bad. May never had good in her, basically. I mean, from what we know as a viewer, this character has never been good.
It kind of plays with the duality, the good and evil, which is kind of a Star Wars thing typically. But
yeah, exactly. I mean, and so I think everything that the actress is told to do by the director worked for me in the episode. It might not have been like pulled off right, but there's some really good facial expressions that the actress that's playing May has in this, like just evil facial expression. Like she pulls some really good stuff off to me. I was not wholly
it one
offended.
actor or is it two?
It's
It's
twins.
twins.
It's twins.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
At real life
Twins.
twins. Yeah. But I love the fact that they look just a little bit not quite identical, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think they're identical. Yes.
You guys remember that Coors Light?
If you-
commercial?
Of course I remember. Yes, of course I remember the Coors Light.
Twins.
See,
yeah.
I think that's got to be surpassed now by the Twisters trailer of the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Twins.
I think
You
so
telling me
these
OSHA has
witches,
a twin sister.
a little backstory about this particular coven, which we can't, like I said, we can't call them Brendakian witches, like we can call Dathomirian witches. That's their planet. This coven was exiled from wherever they were. We get that in dialogue
because they're evil.
Well, I mean, right? We don't know.
No,
now,
we don't
one
know.
thing
We don't know they're
one thing that I noticed right off the bat, obviously, and I'm sure you guys did too, is that Coral is a little bit more evil than Anasea, right? I mean,
right. There's an uneasy tension between.
I've got some theories about what happens at the end of this episode, but I mean, you guys jump in anything like towards the beginning of the episode you wanted to talk about.
I also felt like they were in a relationship together, like with that very close moment when they were.
Yeah,
oh, they definitely were.
Where she caresses her cheek.
I think it's alluded to.
Yeah. You're talking about the yeah.
Yeah, no, they're definitely lesbian lovers.
Yes,
lesbian alien lovers.
Sure,
lesbians.
Why not?
Yeah,
lesbians.
Yeah, lesbians is great.
It's inferred for sure. Yeah,
it's shown.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's like she's the
last time I saw you, Garrison, I touched your cheek gently. I don't know what.
I don't think you did.
It was nothing.
He denies it.
That was Orlando 2017. So,
it was Orlando 2017. Exactly.
He was just a young lad. You were pinching his cheeks.
I know. Yeah, the old whippersnapper.
Hey, whippersnapper, how'd you like a butterscotch?
You're right. I couldn't. I was working at a liquor store and I couldn't drink yet. Yeah,
that's right.
I was almost 20.
Good stuff.
Wow.
So, and May and OSHA, it's like I want to say May. We're not. I didn't see her. I didn't see one of the good one using the Force in the same way. She was attempting to use the Force and couldn't. Just like she tried to reach out for Pip in the first episode. She couldn't.
Yeah.
So she couldn't. I don't think it hasn't stuck her. She hasn't developed into a Force or a Threads user yet.
I would say she definitely has.
Right? Didn't they push that little creature back and forth a little bit? With
No, I think that was all May.
Was all May? Okay.
Yeah, grabbing that little
Let her
butterfly.
go.
I had a
Yeah.
tough time with that
Red.
specific scene because I couldn't tell who was pushing what at
Right.
first. But
I didn't know which one was which at first, so I was kind of like, I think that's
until she would like caught the butterfly and was I was like
Like
okay, that's
torturing
the evil
it,
one.
so.
Yeah.
And she's like, May, stop.
I do think she has some form of the Force because I don't think the Jedi would have taken her.
Because she was able
she's
to
probably
do the
weaker, but
She did the trial.
ship,
test.
tower, mountain.
she knew what was
test.
on the
Yeah.
She
thing.
knew,
But she
yeah.
said
So
something
that's
different, yeah.
that's letting the viewer know. Look, she knows she can use the Force. I
I'm
mean,
still digging
Right.
Master Soul. I like that guy's character.
Oh, I think he's
Yeah.
by far my
He's
favorite
the best
character.
part of the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's by far
Yeah.
my favorite character.
And, it seems like Carrie Ann Moss is a little bit like, I'm wondering if she's going to be the sort of the bad Jedi, kind of like, we're just going to take these kids and not going to, because she kind of
would like that.
Maybe overzealous, not
No,
bad.
She,
Well, not well.
she
You know what I mean?
certainly, in her conversation with Anastasia, she certainly mentioned we
You're
need
not supposed to have children or something, right?
we as Jedi, and this is another thing that maybe everybody seems to know, that the Jedi are allowed to go take kids that are Force sensitive, with permission. So I mean, they made sure and threw that word in there.
Do you
So
want to
she
go with the
said,
Jedi?
Anastasia, with your permission, we'd like to put your daughters through the trials. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're going in and forcefully taking children.
No,
I mean,
it's
that's
not
just
the First
not-
Order.
That's not happening, right? I
but-
mean, it's not
Right.
Brindle Hux.
But you could tell, like, Carrie Ann and the Witch Mother were kind of like ramping up, and then that's when
sure.
Soul stepped in and said, "Okay, would you be okay?" He kind of de-escalated it a little bit.
Mhm.
Oh no! Soul wanted to pull his saber out, and
Well,
and
but he
Dara
gave it-
said, "Slow it down."
Well, he
Well,
was
no,
get-
but I
he
think
was pulling it
Soul
out.
Indara thought Soul was pulling out to like ignite it. He was
Ignite it,
pulling
right.
it out to show it to the kid, to entice the kid. Look at this
Said,
cool
"Don't
little
you
toy."
want a nice little saber
Yeah.
like me? I
So-
smell children." Is there the child catchers of the?
See,
Oh,
now
wait,
this
no,
is
that's-
interesting. I mean, as far as we know, and
That's
I've seen this, bandied about. As far as we know, they're not, though, because it seemed that the witches were reticent to the fact that, yes, we have to allow these Jedi to put our kids through this test.
But I don't think it was like
in
a,
universe.
I think it was more so like, if we don't let them attempt this, they're not going to give up, and them failing the test is going to be the best way to get rid of them. Like, not like a we legally have to type of way. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The way that, but the
I
way
agree
that,
with you.
Especially because they mentioned that they were not on a planet in the Republic's jurisdiction.
Oh, that's true.
yeah. I'm reading
Right.
it a little bit differently. I can certainly see that could be accurate. I mean, but I'm reading it a little bit differently. Like that it seems like the galaxy in general knows Jedi are out looking for Force sensitive kids, and we need to give them permission to test our kids out. I mean,
Right.
I
So
don't know.
they were on the planet hiding, or not hiding, but like they
They had
the
been
Coven was-
exiled there.
Well, no, what I mean is like the Coven was aware that the Jedi were on the planet,
Sure.
and like
So
they
they
were
did
sort
it
of like
good.
hide the children, again, and then I don't know. It feels
So-
a little
Because they showed
nefarious.
up right after the chant.
I do have a question about
Mm-hmm.
the Jedi come and they're like, we thought this planet was uninhibited. There's a bunch of like factory stuff. Do they think it was like abandoned? I'm confused by that. They did not do a very good job of making that planet seem like it would be uninhibited with that line. Uninhabited.
Maybe it was like done so. Maybe the Coven found it and said, "Hey, let's stay here. No one's here."
Yeah.
Maybe that's.
But like,
maybe
why?
that's
Like,
how it went
what was
down.
that like weird like factory power plant thing that they were?
I think they're well. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Are
true.
they
I
not-
didn't- they were
No,
not-
that's, you mean
maybe
where all the
I'm-
bodies were?
I could be totally wrong on this, but I thought that they were creating that Bunta stuff, like they were using the tree to create that potion
in-
or whatever.
the what
I
moss or
thought that
whatever.
was like kind of what the factory was.
Oh.
but it looked like a normal like.
Where'd you get that?
Back-
I just don't even know what you're talking about.
I thought
I'm-
that
I'm
was
gonna
in the
phase out.
episode. I thought that was in the episode where they mentioned the Bunta tree
I need to rewatch that. I don't
potion or whatever.
Like episode
but-
2 when she poisons.
Yeah, they use
common
that
Baratheon.
poison is specifically from that planet, and that's also why she was able to go to
Oh,
Torben and say, if you want absolution, here's the Bunta poison. So
It was like
Okay.
it would be ironic to
Torb-
die from your
Torben.
you know what I mean?
Torben, who I now realize why they cast a guy so young
Yeah.
and put him in such a
yeah,
terrible...
they just it's for
Yeah.
flashback purposes. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
know. He was the
Horrible
fat one.
beard. Yeah, in episode 2, but he looks great in episode 3. So
Yeah, and then he got sort of like possessed at one point, right? And
he did get possessed at one
I
point.
forgot.
Yeah.
Was it the horn lady who did it? Right? She
No, I think it was Anastasia.
Anastasia, yeah.
Oh, and Mother Anastasia, please.
Yeah, Mother Anastasia did.
mother.
I
Pardon me.
prefer just
Yeah.
Mother. Yeah, like Taylor Swift.
I prefer Mama. Mama. I don't know. I could be totally off on that Bunta stuff because I'm
So the witches
wondering-
were producing that and like made that factory.
Yeah. Yeah,
the
like they're
poison.
That's
they're-
impressive for like such a small number to make a factory that big.
I mean, if the Jedi thought that planet was uninhabited,
Yeah. No, I mean that's a
Before-
good. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
had no explanation.
So also like that
Good
power
pickup.
area, like
Yeah,
it
it's very
looked
good
like
pickup.
like a power coupling underneath,
Yeah.
like inside of a
I mean,
Death
you got to
Star.
power the castle. I mean, got to power the factory somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there a lot of stuff we may or may not hear about. I mean, I think we're not done on that planet, or we're done on that planet, but we're not done with younger. I think we're gonna.
No, we're going to have another
maybe.
flashback because we don't understand the ending very well, right?
I've got theories about the
Can we-
ending.
Can we go there
Um,
yet, or do we want to wait a minute?
No, we no.
Should we
you
talk
can
about
go-
colonization?
How did all the people die when
That's a
How did
great
they all-
question because they were
Okay.
not
That's
covered in
where I
the
was
they
going. That's
weren't
where
covered with any debris?
smoke
I know.
inhalation.
That's
See?
why I think it's Bunta gas inhalation.
Mm.
Oh, Michael may be
BGI.
right.
BGI
Yes.
is a very common.
Well,
issue.
okay.
Oh,
But here-
okay. Now Fed thinks it's a mass suicide. I don't.
Interesting.
Oh, like a
Uh,
Jonestown thing.
I feel like we definitely
I
have
like
to see
that.
that then.
Yeah, we would need to see that.
Yeah, but like, why would they do that?
Exactly.
Yeah, I
That's
don't get
why
why
I
they
don't
would
think it's that.
completely
That's why I
just
don't
give
necessarily
up in
agree
that
with that. That's
moment.
why I think
would-
that
Yeah.
perhaps.
Well,
We'd have to
I
know
think-
more, obviously.
I
But
think something went down between the Jedi and the witches.
I
They're
don't
not
think-
very good at like setting up these mysteries because like it
I
just
know.
seemed like you know what I mean. Like like they're just not very good at writing stories.
So
Well-
logically, I guess logically, if you have a character like Torben who feels like he needs absolution to the point
There's
Or
got to
he
be
needs-
something bad.
needs to
that
take his own life,
Mhm.
he's got guilt. But we also had Soul say that it was an accident or we didn't mean to. It's like, I don't think
Something went
whatever
down.
happened to the Coven was intentional. I think it was accidental.
Okay, I can
Yeah,
see
well,
that.
it was, but accidental by who? By May or the
By the
Jedi?
Jedi, maybe. Like the Jedi might have.
Like, how did lighting fire to one room cause that entire place? to
And I don't think
explode?
that.
Like,
I don't think it
and
did. I
all
think
those-
the Jedi unintentionally did
Michael,
something.
I like your idea that maybe they ruptured. If this Bunta stuff is poison,
Yeah. Oh, we
What-
know it's poison.
what if Torben accidentally? And this is speculation, but like use
Yeah.
the Force, cause something to release a bunch of gas, and then they're like, "Okay, we're going to cover this up." May did it.
Right.
Not to
Right.
go like full Rhett here, but this
Ooh.
like vagueness, like
No, Rhett would say that.
Rhett would have already shut this whole thing down. We couldn't.
No,
have
Rhett
yeah,
think-
Rhett
Rhett
was
thinks
going
that
on a
the
diatribe
Rhett
for
thinks
30
that
minutes.
the story.
yes.
Rhett thinks that the story is that the Jedi are evil and they killed all these witches. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think they're going to
Huh.
go there. I don't think they're gonna-
Mm,
I don't think they're going to go
Huh.
there. They're not
I
going to
think-
have Jedi kill. Now,
Like, you
unless
shouldn't
it,
have brought that up. Now I'm convinced. No, I'm just kidding.
but
No.
what I was going to say about
I
going
don't think
full
they're gonna
Rhett
do
is
that.
like the
Well, maybe not
criticism of the writing
purposefully.
because like it does feel very insulting to the audience to just leave all of this stuff so vague and so like to make
But we're
us
only
try to
3
like come
episodes
up with. No, I
in.
know, but like there's ways to do it better than like to not do any explanations, but to leave hints and leave
I
it
agree.
vague that way. It's just
I agree.
vague as in there's no explanations and no reasoning behind anything, and it's just lazy and or
Yeah.
poor writing. And
I
it's
can. I'm
frustrating.
with you. I'm with you on that. It is frustrating. I think that it's not totally fair to judge it until we've seen all the episodes. But I mean,
For sure. But
because
it's
it all
just
could
going
come.
down that
It
path
all
of
could
like,
come together perfectly. Who knows? I mean,
yeah, just like the way you
Well-
set up mysteries isn't done this way of like
Correct.
giving no information to anybody.
well, they're giving
Some people, some characters, somebody has to have information, and we have to see them have that information at some point early on,
Well,
so
I
we know
think
somebody knows something.
I think
Well,
OSHA in the first
watched-
episode.
I
Go
watched
ahead.
something called Glass Onion, and I don't know that I.
Well, I said good
But they
mysteries.
withhold about half of the.
If I didn't
mystery
say
from you.
good, I mean I meant to say good mysteries.
Okay, let's see.
Okay,
I want
all right.
to.
I'm
I want to
thinking about
parse this
that.
out. I want to parse this out. This episode.
It
This
is
is
partly, yeah.
Fatmatic.
Oh,
This
I don't want
episode
to
is
do a Roshamon.
Wait, no, I love Rush.
That's no.
Rashomon.
You're
Oh,
on to
let's do a
something.
Rashomon.
You're
Yeah.
on to something there. This episode is probably from Witches or the twins' point of view. So you're on to something there, I think, Fet. And that's a Rashomon
Well-
thing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Okay, so but what did OSHA say in the first episode, or maybe even the second, that she's been told that May killed
yeah,
her parents, right?
Yeah, that's what
And-
she
May
said.
started the fire that
May
killed
started.
everybody.
They killed
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
and
that-
so
yeah.
that's what we're going on, and that's
Mhm.
why it seems weird when she walks out with Soul, right? Soul saves her from falling down the cliff, right?
Right
Whereas May goes
Mhm.
down into the
down. She sees
chasm.
May fall down into the crevice, and
right, and then he's only able to grab her, but
right.
Because he, for some reason, doesn't have force abilities to.
save them
Save
both.
2 people. Yeah. It's just
well,
like we saw Tech falling down. And
Way to go, Soul. Whatever his name is, Saul.
I think hasn't it been fully established at this point, though, that not every single Jedi has the same type of powers. I mean,
Yeah, but they all have like
Maybe in
force
the High
pull,
Republic.
to use like a video game
I guess. I mean,
terminology.
I
Like,
don't know.
you know what I mean?
It doesn't
Like
bother me. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, what is
I
it?
know that
Telekinetic,
bothers
like-
a lot of people when things seem like why didn't the Jedi just use his powers to do
Because-
this?
well,
I mean,
but
it
like,
doesn't bother me.
the first like skills the Jedi you like learn from our experience
Telekinesis.
is like the
Yeah.
telekinesis, lifting rocks, lifting
Yeah,
sure.
R2D2 in the swamp, pulling the ship out. Like that. Yoda's making it seem like this is something if you can access
I-
the Force in this certain way, that then
I
you will
agree.
be able to like. That's like the building
Garrison,
block
there
of
is-
the Force powers.
It's the
Garrison's on his
exercise.
bike. Garrison's on his bike.
So am I.
It's actually leg day.
It's leg day for Garrison. He's on his bike.
Oh crap! One of my straps came off.
Well, it was surprising to me, Jacob. I will say it was surprising. I thought when he went out with his hand, he was going to do the force catch, and instead he grabbed her by the hand, which I thought was kind of interesting. And I don't know if he saw. Did he see May go down too? I just don't remember.
I think he feels responsible for her death, regardless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Well,
And then she's alive now.
Mhm.
May.
Wow. What does that say about Jedi? Like, if you do something like morally wrong for a Jedi, and
mhm.
you're supposed to be this sort of, Zen Jedi who doesn't have feelings or emotions or attachments to things, like, do you just let that go? Or, I mean, how
Well,
does
I
that?
think that we're seeing with Soul that he certainly has a lot of compassion. I mean, just the way that he,
Well, he's taken May. I mean, not
yeah,
May,
he's
it's,
taken May, just the
Osha.
way that he is like hugging May, and just I think that's not something that
Osha,
we've
Osha.
never, or Osha, I'm sorry, that's not something that we've necessarily seen between a Jedi and their Padawan before. Just that type
right.
of,
like
closeness, like
fatherly.
like fatherly
Although-
love, almost. Yeah,
Although I have
exactly.
some fan fiction with Anakin and the Ahsoka.
Well,
but,
sure. Mhm. I mean, look, You
Sorry.
know, we've seen what's that? Yeah, these exactly, Fett. Yeah, these Jedi seem to show a lot of emotion.
Mhm.
Now, I know
Well-
this is supposed to be towards the end of the High Republic era, and if you've kept track of that, they have gone through the ish. In the High, they went through bad stuff during the High Republic era. So Vanestra Rowe especially has seen her friends
Who?
die.
The green,
The bad
the
actress.
The green,
green, the green bad actress
from the first two episodes, the Green Jedi.
Oh,
She's High Republic era. She has seen people die. She like it has been brutal on the Jedi in the High Republic era, and so I would think that there's a lot of PTSD, especially with her. Like, and probably Soul. I mean, you'd have to imagine based upon the age of Soul and Kalnaka. I mean, these people have seen really bad stuff happen during the High Republic era.
Geode 2.
Right. One can only hope that Geode shows up.
Geo.
He's been all over the show. Did you see the cliff? I mean,
I know there's lots of Geode, but so I mean, I think that these Jedi are emotional beings in this era. I mean, they just are, and they're basically in this position of being police officers almost to the galaxy. And Soul mentions that there's thousands, and so there's still a lot of Jedi right now. He
Sure.
said there's thousands of Padawan. I mean, there's thousands of kids. He said he was he started when he was like 4. I mean,
Mhm.
so you know, I don't know. I just think that I'm kind of like enjoying this show more than I thought I would.
There's a lot that's unsaid and is left up. Like I said, I'm filling in pieces
Yeah.
from Clone Wars.
Right. It does
Yeah.
allow for a lot of insane speculation, which is frustrating a little bit. So I agree with you, Jacob, in what you're saying, like how a mystery show shouldn't be so like to the point where you have to fill in
Well-
everything yourself and speculate crazily, which I'm kind of doing
I
a
think-
little
because
bit.
like really like what we're having to do is come up with the possibilities of the like ways that it could go. Like it's not even just like,
Mhm.
hey, here's this mystery. It could go like one of these like 3 or 4 or 5 ways. We have to come up with what that mystery is,
Right.
which is
Well, and
crazy.
I agree with you, Jacob, that they should have had it a little more telegraphed when she was walking out and noticing all these bodies around. And maybe
Yeah.
they thought they conveyed that well, but I think it maybe got a little bit rushed.
It
Or
was-
it seemed,
I mean,
don't know,
the problem is like when you see all those bodies, see all those.
because I thought, was that the fire? What happened? You know,
You
they're not
see
Right, there's
all-
a cut there.
yeah.
Yeah, you see all
Very
the witch is dead, and in your mind, you're maybe thinking to what May said in episode 2 when she basically called out the fact that she has seen Jedi murder. So like in our
So there's still a mystery, right?
in the viewer's mind, you're like, wait a minute. May says that she's seen Jedi murder people that did not have weapons drawn. Maybe they murdered all these witches, but I don't want to
Right.
believe that the Jedi did that unless there is, like Brian said, unless there is an evil Jedi amongst us.
I think it's
but-
going to be an accident that results in their death.
It could.
I
That's
like
what I'm
your
leaning.
idea.
That's
I
what I'm
like
leaning is
your
it was
gas
accidental.
release.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'm going to say Torvin does it. I'm going to say because he's young, and it
Mhm.
shocks him so much that he has to put himself in this trance-like.
Right. Which
he
would
can't-
track, which is why May brought him specifically Bunta tree poison for him to,
Right.
to
That,
kill
that
himself.
irony.
It would track
Yeah.
that maybe he is holding that.
I like this. I'm liking this thread. I'm liking the thread that
The
we're going
thread.
down. But just if you pull a strand of it,
Yeah, exactly. If you just want to pull the strand,
The strand that starts. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not
Yeah.
going to do that.
the strand that lights the spark, that lights the
the force is no more. It's the thread now.
yeah.
Sorry,
We all have to
guys.
install threads. We got
Yeah,
to install threads
And
on.
here's what, like, I know
Threads in
Garrison was mentioning this earlier, but what I think backfired for all the immediate haters is they hated it too much, and it's not as bad as they made it out to be.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that they were hating on wasn't as bad. Like the episode itself, I could see somebody being like, that was like
Yeah, it
so
was-
poorly written, but
Yeah.
like the content in the episode wasn't like
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
abhorrent or political. Like there were a couple things that I was like, okay,
I mean, look,
I see your wink.
sure. I mean, look, you got to
feel-
see who's the freaking showrunner.
Right. No, for sure. And that's why I'm not
I
like
mean,
that upset about that stuff. 'Cause that's what I was
exactly.
expecting.
Exactly. It's expected.
Right.
Exactly. I mean,
Also, even if there is some situation where some of these Jedi are evil, I'm not thinking they're saying all Jedi are evil.
no. I don't think they're saying that at all.
I am feeling better now that it's not such a paradigm shift. So far, at least, I don't sense that she's trying to say Jedi as they are evil. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to eat these words.
Say it's one. I think it was you, Earl, that said you felt a vibe off of Indara that maybe she could be kind of on the evil side,
or maybe the cover-up side. If the
cover-up side, or something
side,
going,
or
something not on the up and up with Indara.
Maybe, or the more zealous, like in Wheel of Time. There's I'm sorry to use Wheel of Time as an example, but there's different like orders of they're kind of whatever this is. I forget the name of the thing there, but they're basically Force user, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some of them that are like, let's go stop. All men are bad. We got
all men must be killed. Yeah,
all men must be killed. And so you've got some overly zealous of that order, and then the other ones are like, you've got to calm down. You can't be this anger or whatever.
Cut down the door.
What door?
Oh, to let her out.
Well, she got out through the tunnel.
Oh, she got out through the tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah,
then the other
but I don't know if that's the door he's talking about.
What door are we talking about, Fett? I'm sorry.
Help me out.
Spell it out a little bit more for us, Fett. I'm not sure what door you're talking about, because she got out through like the ventilation shaft or whatever.
I apologize.
Got out through the Jeffries tube.
The Jeffries tube.
That's for Espo only. The Jeffries tube, and maybe Garrison. Garrison might know that reference. You don't know the Jeffries tube reference? Star
Go
Trek.
get your next generation.
Yeah, it's a Star Trek thing.
Oh, I'm not a next generation kid.
You're not a trekker?
When the Jedi get into the temple.
Temple. Oh, like the
into the where the coven is. Yeah.
Well, they saw the fire, so maybe they used the Force.
But also, like,
push it in.
They could have sensed the danger, right?
Yeah, you would think.
The fire, maybe the smoke coming from there, and I don't know.
So going back to the first two episodes and what kind of is revealed, we know Indara's on a mission. She's in a seedy place, but she's still in communication with the Jedi Temple. So she's still like working with the Jedi. We've got Sol, obviously he's training Padawan. We've got Torben. He's put himself in this force field of sorrow. I don't know what you want to say. And then Kalnaka looks like he's maybe left the order, and he's off on this planet by himself. So all of them...
Kalnaka.
Dude, I love me some Kalnaka.
The shaved head is weird.
The shaved head is... I like it, though, because it's unique.
Yeah.
What is that?
What is Barish Vow?
That's the silent vow that the guys take.
Oh, the silent vow that he took.
Oh, yeah. Is it called the Barash vow?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was established in a Vader comic because people brought that up. So.
Oh, okay. See, I don't read the
Right.
comics, so I don't know.
Yeah, no,
the lingo. So even Kalnaka, I mean, you know,
and he has a scar on his face too.
Torben and Kalnaka?
No, Torben.
Torben has a scar.
When he's older, and he doesn't at the beginning of this. Is kind of interesting, but anyway.
Well, see, I was trying to see when they cut back to the ship, and
such a mystery.
And Osha
wakes up.
And she wakes up. I was trying to see Torben in the background. It did look like he had an injury on his face.
Hmm.
Hey,
But
I've seen this. I've read this comic.
oh,
that
you've
was
read this.
introduced. Yeah, it was Darth Vader #2.
Oh, you've read
Really?
that comic.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool. So I don't know. I thought that I saw that Torben did have an injury on his face.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Jacob read?
Mm-hmm.
Comic
Back when they redid
pictures.
all the canon, were resetting everything.
I was
keeping up to date on the comics, on the books.
Jacob's a Star Wars
with
guy.
you.
He's a Star
I'm
Wars
so
guy.
with you. I didn't do Darth Vader, but I had all the Star Wars. Like it was.
I had the Star Wars and Darth Vader. Those were the ones I was reading. So,
Dude,
and then
I
I was
even
just
read-
like, "This is. I'm not."
Look,
doing
I
this
even
anymore.
read the first few High Republic books. Also, I was trying, man, but it just got too. It was
After
too much.
old Chucky's second book. I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Oh no! See, I kept with it all the way
I got
up
like,
to High Republic.
I don't know, 50 pages into that, and I was like, "Pass."
The Wendig trilogy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I kept up with all of it. When they said everything's canon, I was like, oh crap, here we go. And but it just with High Republic, it got too difficult. I'm not a huge reader, anyways, and with High Republic, it was too many books. Just too.
So
many.
to that, everything is canon. How do you think that Headland interfaced with Lucasfilm and Filoni or whoever, or maybe it's Kathleen Kennedy? Like, how did she?
Filoni is like her #1 fan.
So she presented this, and they said, I'm sure they have to go through like the writer's Bible.
I'm sure she got notes of like, hey, like,
yeah.
Like you can't do this type of stuff.
Look,
like
I think that
There's
everything
probably
that
like a book or something that's.
I think everything that's happened thus far is blessed by Filoni, fully canon. I don't have any problem with it. The one line that I'm clinging to is that line where it said, "And what happens if the Jedi discover how you created them?" I think that leaves the door open for it being anything. I mean, it could be Pelagus. It could be freaking anything.
Oh, interesting.
Like, it never occurred to me that it was a divergence in the Force. Never. Not even until we started talking.
Like an Anakin. It never occurred to you that it was an Anakin situation. Well, there's no father. We know that. We know that Coral.
Well, no. I mean, we know that there are no male figures within the.
No, they said there wasn't a father.
They said in the dialogue there's no.
They said in the dialogue there wasn't a father.
Yeah.
So
and
we
so
know
like
that...
the way I took it, not necessarily that like, because like the way I've always read the whole Anakin conception is that like it was the Force working in Shmi, right? Similar to like the whole Mary and Jesus thing. The way I took this was that Mother Anastasia like did a little Force thing in Coral's womb.
She conjured it,
and
basically.
like
she conjured the twins.
That
was my read on it.
That could be it, but it also could be super evil Pelagus sperm. We don't know. It could be anything.
Well, that would be fun. That would be fun to do.
Right.
That.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like when they threw that line in,
I don't know about fun.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying it would be
like what happens when the Jedi discover how you created them. That leaves the door open to me for so much. I mean, it's not just that she used in their world the thread to create these twins.
Yeah,
it could be something like really evil. I don't know.
My kind of feeling is that we don't get any more information on that.
Really?
I think that would be okay.
And that like they were
too.
purposefully like that's purposely where they left it because they want people to jump to the conclusion of Anastasia manipulated midichlorians to impregnate Coral.
They're pure midichlorian beings.
But I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot.
No, we'll see. I mean,
especially on this show.
It could be Mephisto impregnated.
Yeah.
Or Ralph Loner.
In most cases, and this is what Rhett would say, in most cases, the obvious answer is the truth. And so the obvious answer, like you're saying, Jacob, is that she created it from the Force. And I personally would think that's kind of dumb. So I hope they don't do that.
Well,
I mean, they just like 20 years ago did that. So it's like,
right.
In the timeline, it's like, well, why aren't we doing this all the time? I mean, it's just, it seems lazy, and I hate to use that Rhetism, but it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and then also Rhett would say the obvious answer in his mind is that the Jedi murdered all these witches. I do not think that is the case. For everything that we know of the Jedi up to this point, that is not something that they would do. They obviously feel guilt about what happened, but
well, I think there was an altercation, and I think something went down, but we just don't know yet. So
the other thing, and I'm just throwing this out, maybe Mother Coral, went postal, and Mother Anastasia, because she was off by herself. She wasn't with all the other bodies.
And Coral also wanted to take on the Jedi, right?
Oh, she did.
She was like, she
She's like, let's go.
She possessed Torvin.
She was certainly much more like the vibe that I got from Mother Anastasia is much more of a loving and caring type of person than Coral.
Maybe they're a dyad.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'm just talking about how I just wonder if Anastasia had to step in and keep Coral from doing something, because you had two different shots. You had the shots with all the bodies in one room, and then you had Anastasia by herself on the way out.
That has an interesting thought.
Yeah, no, it very much is, and because we saw it happen. I mean, it very much.
What if controlled, and then it made it look like the Jedi, and then they had to finish the job.
And maybe that's what May saw. May saw a Jedi that was controlled by Coral murder Anastasia. Who knows? I mean, who knows?
Of course, the real thing Rhett said about us was that we were a bunch of shills just because we didn't immediately hate it. So
I don't think that this episode is not as bad as
no, of course it's not. It's not. No. It's not exciting. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, I was kind of watching it. It was like
super exciting. But I also push back on anybody that says the writing is horrible. I don't think the writing's that bad.
It's intriguing. It's intriguing.
I don't think it's that bad. It's not like if you look up the stuff that the head writer of this episode did. I mean, she was writing for House of the Dragon last year. I mean, she I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything, Garrison, but you do look at somebody's work to see what they've done before to determine, hey, maybe they're not that bad of a writer. I mean, I don't know. I mean, give her the benefit of the doubt.
The Miss Marvel head writer wrote an episode of Loki that was pretty good, and the middle of that show was one of the most boring things I've ever watched.
But this felt like this felt like a episode of Tales of the Jedi. The beginning of it felt very like I was like, this didn't have to be Star Wars. It could have been anything.
Right.
So it was very mild. The first half of the episode with the girls growing up or seeing what their life was like on the planet and the flashback. It was very mediocre. It wasn't earth shattering.
No, I mean, there wasn't, unless it is. Maybe as the series progresses, we're going to find out that the events that happened in this episode were kind of a big deal, even though they didn't seem like it at the time.
Which is going to lead to 5 seasons of The Acolyte.
I hope so.
Greenlit right here on the
look.
All right.
By the time it reaches episode 8, maybe we will hope that. Maybe we'll be like, man, this is really freaking good.
The best one
Let's
ever.
keep it going. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it does feel like a Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Dark. What's the? I can't even remember this planet's name.
Empire.
Bronic. What's the name of the planet again?
The planet itself doesn't mean anything. These are just witches. This was just what's more interesting is why these witches were exiled. I mean, it's just like Salem witch trial stuff that people are just scared of witches and they exile them. I mean, who knows? I don't know.
And I'm okay.
Deservingly so. They should be sank.
maybe. But look, Glinda
Drowned
would like
or lit on
If they
fire.
Glinda the Good
They're
Witch
not
would like to
witches.
enter the
Ban
conversation.
the witch! Ban!
If they sink, they're not witches.
Sabrina the Witch
How
would
do
like
you
to enter the
know
conversation.
she's a witch?
There's
She's
good
got a
witches.
bowl.
There's witches that are good in fiction. It's okay.
In fiction.
In fiction.
Yeah, in fiction, there's witches that can be.
No,
good.
Michael, that's how they get you. They make you
that's
think
not-
they're
okay,
good.
Okay,
They-
Michael, we need
I
to have a
see.
talk. We need to have a talk about.
I see. My
Well, I
bad.
don't know if Rhett's coming back. You know, he
Oh
said
no! I don't think
he
I
said
don't
he's
think he's-
done.
he's done with what.
He's not gonna watch the show anymore.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not
He
sure.
posted last night. He said, "I'm
Oh,
done."
he was just in his feels.
I don't think so. I
He
think
was
he's
just all up in his feels.
all right.
He's
I
watching
think
the.
Here's
Drunk
what I
rock
honestly
stars on
think. Like,
YouTube.
I think anybody that just gives up on the show after these 3 episodes is not really a Star Wars fan. There, I said it.
Shots fired across the
I'm
bow
just
of,
kidding.
of the USS Rhett.
You haven't read his latest message, but okay.
Oh, I haven't. Is he mad?
Here, put that
Well-
on the screen. No,
No, we can't.
I'm
Oh
kidding.
yeah, no. If I'm in Nashville, I'm not rushing back to my hotel room to join a show to
No,
talk
but-
about a show you don't like. I mean, why would he do that? He's
mean,
in
that is-
Nashville.
I feel like
Live it
Rhett
up.
enjoys talking about the things he does not like.
No, he does, and that's why he probably was considering it. But he needs to. I was like, Rhett, you're in Nashville. Party with your friends. Don't worry
Yeah,
about.
don't worry about us tonight.
Don't worry about coming on this show.
He's partying with Jason Aldean or Dolly.
So okay, let's do like
Maybe, yeah.
any final thoughts before we jump into the extra portion of the episode.
I'm not excited for the next episode, but I'll watch it.
Really?
No,
Jacob's talking.
Why would I be excited?
it's just so
Where do-
boring.
I don't know.
What are
I
they
just
gonna
think
show?
that
Like, where can they
Michael
go with
seems shocked.
I'm kind of excited about like I want to see more. I want to see Kalnaka with a freaking lightsaber. I'm kind of excited. There's things I want to see. I want to see a Wookiee with a lightsaber.
I've got Gunji in my. I can go back to anytime
You
I
can
want.
go back to Gunji. Okay, that's fair.
Genji.
We've never
I love
seen
it.
a live action Wookiee with a lightsaber. Come on, it could be awesome. I want to see it.
I'm thinking it's going to be like a trial. Like, you can't handle the truth there because the Jedi Council is going to bring the 4 of these
Guilty
people
or
back
innocent.
and be like, "What happened, folks?" And they're like,
Is
"Oh,
Yoda
nothing
is Yoda
happened."
around at this time?
Yoda is definitely
Alan.
around at this time, but he is not in this series, according to Leslie Headland.
Is
Okay.
he like
Right.
a master at this time? Is he on the council? Is he just like a Jedi or?
I think he's on the council.
Maybe he's a mechanic or something. He has.
I think he'd be on the council at this time.
So imagine they go back to Coruscant. What happened, Jedi? Well, we killed a bunch of witches, or they're all dead. We don't know why.
They're
And
like
they're
good.
just not gonna let this go. So maybe there's a trial, like, you can't handle the
Interesting.
truth. That-
Well,
I'm calling.
there must not be much of a consequence.
We
though,
still have
because
Zipper Face. We still have.
Soul
leather-
is teaching Padawans or younglings, so there's not much of a consequence for him.
Still.
Indara's out in the field doing work for the
Oh,
Jedi.
I think they've already
still.
had the trial, and they.
Found them not
I think
not
they
guilty.
covered
I
it
don't
up.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
We investigated ourselves and nothing was wrong.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like one of those type of things. Everything's
what's your
just
definition.
fine.
Nothing
Well,
to
I
see
mean,
here.
It's gonna be one of those things. Who's gonna miss a bunch of witches anyways? It's like one of those type of things. I mean,
I'm not even going to say it. Okay.
I mean, if I'm Indara, she seems like the team lead, right? She goes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's lies and deceit. There's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that going on. There's some deceit.
Yeah.
But you've also got Indara that's probably going to be like, look, these witches came at us and we had to take them out. Sorry. I mean, it is what it is.
Come
that
at me,
could-
bro.
That could be the explanation right there. I mean, who knows? So I'm going to skip Garrison. Okay, wait. Any final thoughts before we move on into the extra stuff? No? Okay, good.
We'll
I'm
keep
going to
watching.
skip Garrison so we can come back around to the subject matter I want to talk about and then go to Espo. How did you extra this week, Espo?
Oh man, I extra'd like 3 different things.
Don't hurt
So
yourself.
back in the mid '90s, there was a band called Clannad. And
Oh yeah, Clannad, yeah.
You've definitely heard the song from the theme from Harry's Game.
Yes.
And it was attached to the movie Patriot Games.
Yes, great movie.
Excellent Tom Clancy movie. So YouTube, in its knowledge, said, "Hey, there's a TV show called Harry's Game," and I was like,
"Yeah."
And so it was a 3-episode BBC production about the Troubles, like all the stuff going on in Northern Ireland and Britain, and that song features heavily. So anyway, the TV show is called Harry's Game, and that's where that song came from. And I would not say I would recommend it highly, but it let me understand the Troubles and like Sunday Bloody Sunday and like all the politics around that. So the song Harry's Game, or the theme to Harry's Game, is how I extra it.
I'm all about that
Harry's
theme.
Game.
I freaking love Patriots Game. I love the Harrison Ford Jack Ryan movies. Those are freaking awesome. You need to watch those if you haven't. And that song is awesome. And for those that don't know Clannad, you probably do know Enya, who was part of the group Clannad.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, exactly. Roth, how did you extra this week?
Yeah, let's see. Well, it's been a couple of weeks since I've.
It has been, so you can pick whatever you want.
I was out in Los Angeles, and I went to a Scum and Villainy Star Wars bar. I also went to my first Red Rocks concert. Saw Ian Munzik.
Oh, dude,
that's amazing!
It was incredible. I watched Godzilla -1 finally last night.
Oh, nice!
Me too.
Great movie.
Did you like it?
You watched it last night too? It's a great movie.
Yeah, it was good. I think it may have been a bit overhyped for me, just because it took me so long to see it.
It happens.
But I definitely enjoyed it. And I think
theater.
the
kind of values and message of this movie was very good.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's kind of the value of life.
That's a good point. I agree. Dr. Earl, how did you extra this week?
Well, Michael's not going to love this, but I watched I'm like a year or two behind in what's hip because I didn't get Apple Plus until recently. So I watched. I've been sort of working my way through Ted Lasso, and I finally got to the end of season 3, and I watched the finale. It was and then I watched a couple of things where Sudeikis talked about how he created the character and.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just I'm never going to watch the show. I don't care.
I know you kind of passed from it, but
yeah,
it almost made me care about soccer. Almost.
It almost made you care about soccer.
I actually enjoyed it.
I've only seen episode or series 1. How did seasons 2 and 3 compare to the first?
They start to get a little bit too much into. I don't know how to describe it.
You don't even need to.
Male fragility.
Male fragility.
So I'm not kidding. I mean, there's all the guys seem to have these psychological things going on, and it dipped for me definitely by season 3, but then the ending was really strong and the series finale. So anyway,
well, there's already of course rumors that there's going to be some revival of the show, so it's not necessarily over.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I guess they left the door open a little bit.
Look, when there's people don't like to leave money on the table, and so it's Hollywood. It'll happen.
This
will lead. This is going to be an obvious lead into what I asked Garrison to research.
Michael is so excited about this.
I watched a little movie brought to you by Sony Pictures called Bad Boys Ride or Die. That was fantastic. Very fun time in the theater. I hope they do a 5th one. They're of course already in conversation about it because Will Smith and Martin Lawrence just have really good on-screen chemistry. They're hilarious together. And the movie is a lot of fun. And Adil and Bilal, love it. I don't need to see Batgirl or whatever. I don't care about Batgirl. I want to see Adil and Bilal do a Marvel movie, though. I'd love to see them do maybe, Spider-Man 4. I'm just throwing that out there. But anyways, Garrison, how did you extra this week?
Apparently this has been forced on me.
No, it didn't. No, I'm just messing with you.
You should pick something totally different.
Yeah, you should definitely.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. No, I'm not forcing anything.
Garrison finished another Brandon Sanderson book. Click, we're done.
No, No, I'm going to piggyback off Mikey real quick and talk about Bad Boys real quick.
Yeah, Bad Boys.
Bad Boys, I went to see that in the theater this weekend. Bad Boys Ride or Die, which they missed the opportunity because they thought
did.
the third one would be the last one. They called that one For Life. This one should have been For Life.
Yeah, For Life.
Fair enough.
But it is what it is. These guys are just having so much fun with this franchise. That is my highest rated Bad Boys movie. I don't care for the Bad Boys movies personally. There are aspects of them I like, but I'm just not really into that 2000s action movie scene, that early 2000s action movie scene, and
I agree.
late 90s as well. It's just really not my bag. Adil and Bilal, though, I mean, they're just going like, how do I say this without being crude? I mean, kind of balls to the wall action.
Yeah.
I mean, they're putting it all out there. They're trying to do so much fun stuff behind the camera. I mean, they're doing all these cool inventive shots, and sometimes it really works. Sometimes it doesn't. But I really respect that they are just going out there and they're swinging.
Yeah,
I mean,
swing.
They're going for home runs every time, and it doesn't always hit, but when it hits, it's huge. And let me just say, sometimes you kind of forget why the communal aspect of theaters is such a big deal. When you're in a movie theater with a crowd that's really responding to a movie, it's really laughing at all the points that they should be laughing at, even clapping at some moments where it's not super inappropriate and it doesn't really drown out the movie. And, some people are, clapping after a good action. The Reggie scene got a little bit of a clap.
Right. Yeah, no. Yeah, the crowd I was with was great. They loved it.
It elevates your feelings of that film coming out of it. I wound up giving this an 8 out of 10 on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
I think if I hadn't seen this with a crowd, it'd probably be more like a 7.
That's fair.
But
the crowd really helps.
But I mean, just the communal aspect of going to see some of these movies, especially comedies, and I think that's really missing from the theatrical. And I understand. I know the business decision of why comedies aren't really put out in theaters anymore, but I think it's really a mistake in terms of how they play with audiences. I mean, if a comedy is really hitting with an audience, I mean, when everyone's laughing at the joke,
it's got to be a good comedy, though.
I know, I agree, but I'm
like
just saying
Barbie.
when it
Barbie,
hits, but that's a $165 million budget, which is tiny for a blockbuster, but for a comedy, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic brand on top of that. I think Hollywood.
Michael for Barbie is not a comedy.
I do 100% though agree. I do 100% though agree. I hope to see those guys on Spider-Man. I'd love to see what they do behind the camera with Spidey. I think
it would work
crazy.
And if they're trying to get that movie out when they say they're trying to get that movie out, they need to hire directors like yesterday. I mean, they've waited too long to announce who the directors of that film are.
They're supposed to start filming later this year, so we'll see. Sony obviously bought Alamo Drafthouse, which is the first time now technically Sony, I guess, is not always considered a major studio, but at this point I would definitely consider them a major studio.
I think so too now.
This is the first time a major studio's bought a theater or a theater chain in 75 years.
Yeah, I mean there was the
Paramount.
Sony owned Lowe's for a while, but that's because they weren't part of that Paramount weird thing.
But again, they weren't a major chain.
They weren't a major
or a studio. The Paramount decrees made it so that the big studios in Hollywood, it was illegal for them to be able to own theaters, because when they were owning theaters, they could set prices lower at their theaters and take. It's just it's a bunch of stuff that dealt with the Sherman Act and antitrust laws. You can get into it. There are arguments for or against it, but it was struck down in 22, I think. So now officially studios can buy theaters, and I really at this point don't really see an issue with that. The current way that things are going for theaters, I think may be a better thing for some of these studios to actually have a stake in some of this to help try to revive some of the
Disney's going to buy AMC. I predict it.
Well, I don't know that they need to do that, but the good thing that happened to AMC, to just go off on a slight tangent, was the meme stocks. The meme stocks allowed them to get a lot of capital in to help not declare bankruptcy a couple of years ago.
Right.
So
yeah, that's true.
they're really thankful for that because they would have declared bankruptcy if not for all the meme stock stuff. But anyway, Alamo Drafthouse, which
I
is
saw some people
big brand.
lamenting that this could hurt independent theaters. And I don't really see that.
That was why the Paramount decree came about in the first place. Was
Yeah.
just, part of that was independent theaters. I don't really see that for Alamo.
Yeah, I don't see
They're
that
already
being an
kind of
issue.
competing with the independent scene anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't.
You know, if there was an Alamo Draft House where I lived, I would go. Like I don't ever go
Me
to
too.
movies. I would go to one of those. It looks
Yeah.
amazing.
It just looks fun. I mean, and they take it seriously, which like AMC does not take anything seriously about their presentation, what their theaters look like. I mean, a lot of them, at least in our area, look like cesspools when you walk into them. I mean, the staff is uninterested in being there.
I don't
And
like
the-
how they do their concessions now. How they just have the popcorn out and the thing.
Yeah, it's
You got to
just-
scoop my popcorn for me.
I know, right? I want to at least feel like it could be
Mhm.
fresh instead of you
tell them,
having
hey,
it in a
go dump that
glass.
bag right now.
That's how our
Yeah.
local chain is. And our local chain, I love our local chain.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that we had something a little bit better than AMC where I am, but it is what it is.
Oh man, come up to Huntsville. We've got some Bridge Street.
I know
super
you
nice.
got Bridge Street up there. That's pretty cool, but
Oh,
that's a
well,
Cinemark though. I mean, that's another
Yeah,
chain.
Cinemark. You can have like
Funny
sushi
enough-
and all kinds of stuff there.
Yeah.
Sushi.
Funny enough, my local chain used to be owned by United Artists, which I guess they weren't considered a big studio either.
Oh,
It's now
Right.
called Georgia Theater Company, and if you look up the like makeup formation of the company, it's actually Georgia Theater Company 2 LLC, whatever it is. Because they sold it initially, and now it's back as Georgia Theater Company.
Yeah.
But it's pretty fresh over there. Things are pretty good. I like, only
That's
thing I
cool.
complain about is sometimes cleaning the theaters in the back of the theater. But otherwise,
And I
I
would
went to
venture to
see-
say, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh,
go
I
on.
was just going to make a comment on Alamo Draft House. I saw Drive My Car at a draft house
Oh, cool.
in Austin.
oh,
Not
wow.
a fun experience. We were in like, they were like
You
wooden
might have gone to
seats.
the original one.
Yeah, we were in like wooden seats.
Yeah, that's the
and
original one.
It was tough.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
that's
Kind of
a-
hungover for that one
that's
as well. That was a
that's a long
tough
movie, right?
movie.
Well, I mean, the newer
3 hours.
ones are more like a standard multiplex.
Yeah, and their
I mean,
popcorn, it's fancy popcorn. I want that buttery like crap popcorn at a movie.
that could kill you if you eat it.
Yeah, and they like serve it in like a big
Sorry.
like metal bowl, is what you
Oh.
get it in, and like
That
it was
might
fine
just be that
popcorn.
one location that you went to.
Yeah,
that does
maybe.
That.
Jacob,
Ooh, I'm going to-
it's called gourmet popcorn.
Yeah,
Gourmet. That's
I was
right.
not a fan.
Yeah.
Give me the buttery. Like my hands are just like soaked after like a couple of handfuls.
Yeah, see, we were supposed to have an Alamo built here in Birmingham. They did a big press conference, and it was going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
And then I guess Alamo really corporate, like not the franchises, but the corporate started having a lot of financial problems. Hence, Sony coming in buying them out a couple of
makes
years
sense.
after. But I
Well,
don't
I'm going to Texas next week for work, so I'm going to.
You gotta go.
There's one right near where I'm going.
well, there you go. Go experience
Do it.
Alamo. Well, we will be back next week for sure to discuss the 4th episode of the Acolyte. I don't know if Rhett will be joining us, but we'll
Sure he will.
find out. I think he
I think he's
protests too much, and I think he will watch the episode. I doubt that Rhett will not watch that episode. But Garrison, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter at gryfin3, GRYFUN3, Instagram as well. You can find me on Letterboxd at gryfin. I finally watched Logan the other day, so I'm starting to slowly get through the back end of that X-Men rewatch.
Yeah, that's a
It's
long
becoming a
rewatch.
struggle because I decided to commit to every cut of everything. And
Mm.
I have
Ooh,
to watch
that's a big-
Logan. I have to watch Logan Noir after this, and
Ooh, in black and white.
ah,
That's cool.
Rhett out.
mm,
Well, cool. Awesome. Dr. Earl and Espo are in the same boat. They're generally off the grid, but you can find them if you are privy to the Deucecast, which is our Discord server. They're hanging out in there quite often. So if you are watching this episode and you have any interest in
It's
joining
true,
our
all of it.
Discord, please DM us on X or Facebook at the Deucecast. And if I can tell you're a regular listener, I'll throw you a link so you can come into the Discord. Roth, I really enjoyed A Man for All Seasons. I loved the quote that was thrown out about what A Man for All Seasons means. I thought that was an awesome quote that either you or Tate threw out.
I think that was
can't remember.
Tate.
That was an awesome definition of A Man for All Seasons. I'll be honest, I'm not as excited about what you all are doing next, but you can talk about it. What are you guys
Me
doing
either.
next?
Yeah,
on
no.
Good Day for a Movie?
Next up,
Whoa.
we've got Wild Tales. I just got a lot bigger.
Yeah, because
Apologies
Brian-
to the audience that
Brian left.
has to now see my face more clearly. Yeah, Wild Tales, which is an Italian film, 6 short stories, something about people in distress. It was nominated for an Oscar the year it came out for Best Foreign Language Film. Yeah, that's the Good Day for a Movie podcast. Tate and I are kind of just switching back and forth. We may have an appearance from Sage here in a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens.
He's back.
The idea has been floated. He's expressed interest.
Okay.
He's just a busy little man. Yeah, that's what's going on there.
You mean he's going to show up and talk about the Acolyte? That's awesome.
No, but we will. We will be here next Wednesday.
And
to talk about the 4th episode. I personally am in on the show. I know that some people are out, but that's okay. To each his own.
Look, I'm out on the show, but I'm still watching it.
I feel you. I appreciate the chat. The chat was fun as always. Fetmatic, thank you for.
Thanks,
I always enjoy Fetmatic stopping by because he actually provides good information and participates in a positive way, whereas Rhett, who was also in the chat, participates in a very negative way.
Rhett, I appreciate you as well.
Me too, Rhett.
Whatever. Andrew, thank you for stopping by as well.
Ow.
We will be back next week. I really appreciate it, guys. Have a good night, everyone. Go watch a movie or something.
Dude.